At the highest frequencies of Pisces is unconditional love. And this is really worth taking a step into to contemplate, what does it actually mean to hold and practice unconditional love? And this is something that, again, as a Mars in Pisces and Mars conjunct my North Node, I feel like this is one of my themes that I find myself circling around a lot. Like, practicing unconditional love as a human is extremely difficult, like almost impossible, I would say, like, but not quite. I think it is technically possible. I think it is extremely rare that a human touches this frequency of unconditional love. I think it's really easy to talk about. And even I talk about it a lot because I find it very fascinating. But what does that actually mean? Because think about it, like the example that's coming to my mind is the prison system. And if we adopted a mindset of unconditional love, we would be seeing the souls inside these vessels who in whatever moment did whatever action. And now the current prison system condemns the entire being for one moment in time. And you may be thinking that, like, yeah, but if they murder someone, or like, yeah, but if they, R-word someone, like, these are not okay. Like, they can't do that. And feel the constriction in that response. That's why humans can't do unconditional love, is because when you start thinking about this, I love them no matter what, your mind automatically brings you examples of, but not them. I'll love you no matter what, except for if you murder someone. I'll love you no matter what, except for this and this and this. These are my deal breakers. These I can't love, but I'll love you no matter what, but not this. Like, what? That's conditional love. That's the very definition of conditional love, is like, I'll love you no matter what, except for this and this and this. These are my conditions. If you break these conditions, then I will not love you. And some people have one or two conditions that will prevent them from loving. Like, they are 99% love, and maybe they got like this little hang up, and like, that's pretty good, right? Like, what I would imagine as a human, that's pretty close to the best we're aiming for. Other people, and I think I was in this boat for a long time, and it created a lot of suffering. And basically, like, we have expectations of other people. We require that they behave inside the parameters that we personally deem acceptable. And as long as they behave inside this box, then we will love them. And I feel like my box was like right here. I had way more conditions for why I wouldn't love you. Like, you had to just be perfect, basically. And that was what was manifesting, was like, I hate the world. I hate people. People suck. People are stupid. Like, on and on and on, telling all kinds of stories about people and what's wrong with people. And all of that was really conditional love. And this is where how we feel about other people will always be a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. Like, when we put a lot of expectations and rules on other people, that is a very telling moment about how we treat ourselves on the inside. So I know that back then, that makes total sense for me personally, with like, back then when I really didn't like people and very curmudgeon-y when it came to people in general, condemning like a whole species, basically. Like, I was also extremely depressed and very much in a pattern of self-loathing and not loving myself, and feeling like a failure at my own life, and like nobody else loved me, and I was misunderstood, and all these things were wrong with my life and myself. And rather than face that, it was easier to tell stories about how stupid other people are. And so we can look at our conditional love of others as a reflection of the conditional love that we hold for ourselves. So when we start arguing for why this one's not worthy of love and this one's not worthy of love and this one made a gross mistake and this one is just evil and this one is beyond redemption and this one is vile. I mean, people throw out all kinds of words, sending energetic lampoons into these souls saying, they're not worthy of love. They're not. Yeah, unconditional love, but not them. That is like the human condition, is that on the inside, we can experience unconditional love in its purest form. We truly can. And then you open your eyes and you look around, and it's so easy to get sucked into judgment of how this isn't as good as my fantasy on the inside. And accepting that, I think, is a really big piece of getting there with unconditional love, is accepting that, like, when you open your eyes and you look at the physical, it will never be as good as what you're able to conjure in your imagination on the inside. The physical world will never be as good as your inner world, period. Accept it. Just don't let it disappoint you. And then there's a space, there's enough of a door opening for gratitude to come in towards what is manifesting in the physical world. And this is where, again, I go back to the prison system of, like, which is interesting because Pisces in the 12th house is associated with the prison system and confinement in general. But if we truly held a view of unconditional love, when you look at someone who did something bad, quote unquote, right? That's subjective. If I ever did hear a word that was subjective. Instead of locking them up or killing them, we would truly come at it from a place of rehabilitation, and if not rehabilitation, at least study and prevention. Because what I can tell you from my own twisted obsession / fascination with true crime, whatnot, is that most of the serial killers and the truly sadistic people that we have on the planet, they were made out of rotten upbringing experiences. And that is really the problem. The person, the murderer, and the awful things that they did, condemning them is the easy way out. The difficult thing is to show them compassion and ask, why would you do this? You know, I personally believe that at our heart, when we are born, we are all, and maybe even our entire lives, at our heart, we are all the same divine love consciousness. And when we are hurt or traumatized in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it doesn't matter. When we're traumatized, that light gets covered over, and we instinctively, through our own survival instinct and our lizard brain, our, survival brain, we protect ourselves. We cover over our precious light and we keep it safe. And then we get hurt again and we cover it over some more. And we cover it over some more, we cover it over some more. And there are people who can cover it over so much, it's so protected that even they lose track of it. And I feel like I've been there. I've been on the verge of not wanting to be here anymore enough times, and looked into that abyss of what even is life and what even is death? Like, what does it even matter? Like that extreme Pisces version of what does it even matter? And when you look at that, when you really truly consider what it takes for someone to hurt another being, given that everything that we ever have in terms of relationship with others is just a relationship with ourselves, they are hurting themselves on the inside as much, if not more, than anything that anybody ever does to anybody else. You inflict it on yourself first and foremost, and sometimes it spills onto other people. And looking at the individual with compassion lets us open our minds to say, I think really, instead of fighting for the death penalty or stronger prison sentences or anything like that. Like, yes, that needs a solution when a person has gotten to that point. But instead of focusing on that end, why are we not focusing on the new souls who are coming in pure and being traumatized through poverty and existing racism and all kinds of sexual assault that happens at all ages of, like, just, there are so many ways that darkness can seep in, that we can feel the need to protect ourselves. And in Pisces, the highest frequencies, unconditional love, what that really means is that you're no longer protecting yourself. You're letting your heart be completely open. You're taking every layer of self-protection off, and you're putting your pure heart out into the world. You're loving with no guarantee of being loved in return, just because that is the essence of your soul. That heart, divine, unconditional love that truly can see the soul in every single being that's alive, no matter what they've done. Their actions are not who they are. That is so true for any of us. Our actions are not who we are. We are something deeper than just our actions. And so this unconditional love and practicing that divine compassion, it really does begin with offering yourself compassion and unconditional love. Because when you start to practice, again, it doesn't work to say, yeah, I love everybody no matter what, and then beat yourself up for the things that you beat yourself up for, whether I said something stupid or I shouldn't have blah, blah, blah. Like, I have this regret from when I was younger. Anything that you can hang over your own head and use to torment yourself and tell yourself that you're not worthy of love, because, like, in that moment you're being beat up on. It just happens to be coming from yourself. And most of us do that probably more than we realize. So it really is about catching yourself within that moment of, like, when you call yourself stupid you don't have to say it out loud, just on the inside you can say, like, gosh, that was so stupid. That's judgment, and that is the opposite of acceptance. And without acceptance, we can't have compassion. And without compassion, we can't have unconditional love. So in that moment, instead of that was so stupid or why has this happened to me, acceptance looks like I'm always at the right place at the right time. Every single thing that happens to me is for the highest good of the all. My unfolding is in line with the divine unfolding of the highest good of the all. So if I did a stupid thing, that's exactly what was supposed to happen. That's what needed to happen. If I snapped at somebody and I didn't mean to, and afterwards I felt really bad, that's what they needed to hear. Like, it's like that. It's like that acceptance of exactly what manifests is correct. And it's through that we can make peace with this divine path and with the timing of what's unfolding in our lives.